This is Joshua Hart for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by Adam Martin, Paul Stevenson, and Javier Miller here ahead of a very big fight this weekend. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn goes down live from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I've brought these three brains together today to get different thoughts and different takes on the fight this weekend. First of all, lads, how is everyone? You all good?
Yeah,
All
all
good,
good,
man.
mate. All good,
Very,
mate.
very good to hear. Just looking at this weekend, first of all, it's a big fight, a big occasion. How excited are you all, first of all, for the fight? Adam, we'll start with you.
To be honest, yeah, I'm excited about it. It's, a lot of my family are interested in it, which they're not normally. There's a lot of different people really up for watching this fight, and like the build-up's been good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Paul, are you looking forward to seeing the fight this weekend?
Yeah, always. I'm a boxing fan as well as working the business, but yeah, it's a lot of hype around it. These grudge matches always bring a lot of interest, don't they? So yeah, yeah, looking forward to watching it.
And Jav, are you excited to see Ben and Eubank throw down this weekend?
No, I've actually got quite a few concerns about this fight, to be honest with you. So it's hard to. I can't change my opinions that I've had previously. I've got to stick with what I was saying before. It is absolutely massive over here. It really is. I was on one of the boxing channels in America. It doesn't really mean anything to them, but obviously to us over here, with the history of the two guys, and the families, yeah, it's big here. But it's just, yeah, there's some concerns, some serious concerns with this fight.
Where do you say the concerns lie, Jav? Where do you feel are the biggest concerns of the fight?
Well, I don't like the idea, obviously, like three weight divisions between them. I don't like the idea of Eubank having to come down to a weight he hasn't boxed at for a while, and then the rehydration clause. I think it's dangerous on both sides. Um, it's just, I don't know. It's just. I don't think that. I don't think Ben has done enough to warrant this fight. That's my opinion, honestly. It's obviously we're talking about Terence Crawford jumping to fight Canelo, but we're talking about a two-weight undisputed champion, so he's kind of proven his level. My worry for Ben is that he hasn't really proven himself at any level or fought for any sort of belt, not even like a domestic title. I don't think he's even fought for an English title or a British title, anything like that. I understand obviously going the international route, but it's just I think you have to have done something first. If he really does, if he really manages to beat Eubank, Eubank is completely shot to bits. You have to be realistic. Like Eubank has been up at a decent level. I mean, I know he's come up short against a couple of guys, but he gave Billy Joe Saunders a good run. He gave George Groves a good go, and he has won a couple of IBO world titles. It's a lot more than what Ben's done, and I like Ben a lot. I've actually met Ben quite a few times more than I've met Eubank. But yeah, have to be realistic. If Eubank was really even 50, 60% of what he should be, it shouldn't even really be a fight. It should be pretty easy. Yeah, that's my concerns on both. I'm talking about the safety of both guys, one coming down and one having to go up that far.
Adam, Paul, can you guys understand Jav's concerns when you hear what he has to say?
Yeah, I understand. I don't think there's. I think Chris Eubank can make the weight easy enough. It's the £10, the hydration clause that's going to be a bit of a factor with him. But yeah, there are risks. There are risks with the fight. As a boxing fan, I don't know, Xavier, he knows it's just money talks, doesn't it? It's all about money, isn't it?
100%.
And nothing we can do can change it.
That's true. Not even his dad.
No, that's true.
Paul, do you see the same concerns? Can you understand Jav and
Yeah, I mean, I know what the lads are saying, but it's happening. So, and it's happened before, and it is what it is. And as we said, as it's been known, neither of them are really proven at world level, especially young Conor Benn. But at the same time, he's got youth on his side, that kid, and sometimes that size can go against the bigger fighter. If you look through boxing history, Joe Lewis against Billy Conn, Spinks against Holmes, Duran against Leonard, they're all obviously top flight fighters, but the smaller fighter, Usyk in recent times against Joshua and Fury, the smaller fighter has come in with speed that the big lads aren't used to, a bit of
100.
quickness, bit of agility, and it can go against the big fighter. So while he's far from proven, Conor Benn, and he's had a year off and all that madness that's been going on, he could come in under the radar there and cause some problems.
100%. I agree.
Yeah, and neither of them have been overly active, really, over the years, have they?
It's true.
None of them have been overly active. I expect Conor Benn come out like a right handful and put it on Eubank early, and if he catches him, he's definitely got the killer instincts. I think Conor Benn, but the longer it goes, I think Eubank get the better of him. I think that's what I think. Anyway. Start bringing them uppercuts into play and stuff.
Just looking at the training teams, it's very polar opposites. With Conor Benn, it's a career-long partnership with Tony Sims. For Chris Eubank Jr., it's a one-fight partnership with Jonathan Banks. Looking at that Eubank camp, what do you make of Jonathan Banks as a coach? Or sort of, Paul, what do you think of Jonathan Banks as a trainer? Oh, hello, Paul. Can't hear. Hello, Paul. Can't hear.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. We can hear you now,
Yeah.
Paul.
You were saying I got up to where you said looking at the camps and then it went off.
Yeah, so just looking at Eubank's camp, obviously it's only a one-fight partnership with Jonathan Banks compared to Conor Benn, who has got a career-long, partnership with Tony Sims. Just looking at that Eubank camp, what have you made of Jonathan Banks as a trainer?
You don't see from the outside what goes on in camp. You might see snippets that are in the that I allow into the social media, but it's very little of what's actually happening. We don't show anything really, and so you guide yourself in camp on what you do. But I do know that having knowledge of the fighter is a massive strength to any trainer. And not to knock anyone. I mean, Eubank Jr.'s had a long career. He knows what he's doing. But still, having that someone in the corner who knows you inside and out, knows what you can do, knows what he can ask you, knows what he can't, knows not to waste his breath on, it makes a big difference.
Adam, what do you make of Eubank's training team that he's got going into this fight?
I don't know what to say really. I've had one of my boxers has been sparring with Chris for this fight, like every week really. And he's impressed with the trainer and the way he's getting through to Chris Eubank and the tactics they're using. Obviously, I'm not going to say nothing about it, but he's obviously a good coach, isn't he? But I know Tony personally. I don't know Jonathan Banks personally. And I know he's got that good relationship with Conor, like really personal. And like what Paul says, he knows his fighter in and out and stuff. So it's a good battle from the coaches as well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And then, Jav, just a bit of a different one here for you. How important or how different, I guess you could say, is it for Conor having a trainer that knows him in and out and probably knows him just as well as he does in the ring than outside the ring, compared to Chris, who's obviously had a bit of a history having multiple trainers throughout his career? How big of a difference could that play on fight night?
I think you just touched upon it there. I think with Chris Eubank, it's always been like he's always been associated with a bit of chaos. Even the training team from the beginning, it's like, who is he really listening to? Never really saw him with a trainer like that he really bonded really that well with. He's always seems to be jumping around to different trainers. Responded really well to Bomac in the rematch with Smith. Was listening well. He just seems like a mood kind of fighter. If he's in the right mood and he's got a relationship with you, then you can get through to him and he can function. As Adam said earlier, Sims he seems to have a good relationship with all his boxers. Don't really know Jonathan Banks like. I think I've met him a couple of times, and obviously with sparring with some of my guys. But they're both very experienced. I just think it just depends on the boxers. Just can they follow through with the game plan? I think it's the tactic is who can get it right. With Eubank, being the bigger, stronger, and he is quick. So, maybe Ben might not have the advantage of speed that he usually has because Eubank is quite quick for his size. So I think he should start fast. I think he should impose his will as early as possible. You let Ben get confidence, it's going to be trouble.
Well, moving on, looking at the game plans. Paul, if you were in the corner of Conor Benn this weekend, what would be the game plan and why? What would you be looking to get out of him in that ring?
It's difficult to say. The first thing I'd be trying to do is to keep him managing, his temper and his emotion that's invested in the fight. This is a weird one. This has come on through the history of the dads fighting the sons. It's got a deeper sort of meaning, I think, for the lad than any other fight, and people in a lot of situations. So, firstly, be to manage your composure will be key. To box well to your strengths, you got some speed and agility on this fella, plus youth. So it might not be. I think people expect Ben to come out like a whirlwind and then maybe to gas, and then Eubank to weather some, early, weather, if you like, bad weather, and then to be picking away with his jab, and then to come back on late and look for the stoppage. But Conor Benn's got to be careful of that, but understanding he's the one with natural youth, and if he uses his abilities wisely and his stamina and his energy while still trying to box to his strengths, he could be the one who comes on late. You never know.
Adam, what would you be saying to Conor Benn if you were in his corner this weekend?
Yeah, well, I think he should start fast. He will start fast, and he's got to box his fight. He's got to try and control his emotions. I'm not sure if he can, to be honest. It's a bit of a hot wire, and I think, especially if he catches Eubank early, I think he's going to jump all over him. But I'd be telling him to apply the pressure, but do it intelligently, like box, but be busy and just use your brain, really. But I do think it's going to be an hard fight for him, and I expect Eubank to sort of, I know everyone's saying as it goes on, but I think from early, I think Eubank might have the measure of him, size-wise, boxing-wise, experience-wise. But, I'm excited to see it. I know, and we can all get it wrong, you know what I mean?
And Jav, just same question to you. If you were in the Conor Benn corner, if you were part of the team, what would you be telling them? What would be the game plan for you?
Yeah, I think both guys haven't really ever showed they've got an issue with stamina. They both seem to be able to go at a decent pace and finish fights quite well. So that hasn't been the issue. But if I'm Ben, I'm not going to start 100 miles an hour. I'll be honest with you. You're fighting a bigger guy. You need to get the measure of him, and then start getting to work. I'll be saying the opposite to you, Eubank. You're the naturally bigger fighter. Impose your will early. Hit him with something hard. Let him know that this is not 147 pounds. We're right up at this weight, and I'm the bigger fighter. I'm the guy that's been wearing 10-ounce gloves, basically throughout my career. You're coming up, so yeah, I'll be telling him jump on him as early as possible, and see if you can put him in his place and trying to humble him. Because if you hurt Ben early, there's going to be some concerns. My hope really is this is going to be like Hagler Hearns, because I don't want to see a long drawn out fight because of the issues that I was talking about earlier. I don't want to see anyone take a long beating and then getting knocked out late. This is for both guys. I think that could be dangerous for both of them, because obviously one's having to give away a lot of natural weight and the other one's going to be depleted. So I'd rather like a 2-3 round crazy kind of fight, 100 miles an hour. Great for the fans. And if one's going to go, let it happen early. Usually we don't get issues like tragedies in boxing with fights really early. It's normally long drawn out fights with a lot of punishment, along the way, and then late stoppages is dangerous for any boxer.
Paul, just hearing what Xavi has to say about the game plan if he was in Eubank Jr.'s corner, do you agree with that? Would you be telling Chris Eubank Jr. to impose himself from the off, or would you have something different in your mind?
He's got to go in there as a pre-fight favourite, hasn't he? In his own mind as well. He is the bigger man. He has got a better pedigree, really. He's more proven in as much as either of them are. And you've got someone in there who looks on paper and it's in the press conference and everything else to be aggressive and to be intent on coming out and working hard. So I would recommend for Eubank, if it was us, to keep it tight and tidy early on, box behind the jab. I mean, that's what he's good at. Look to, as Xavier said there, to land something tasty on the fella, make him behave, and then and then take it to him and box like the bigger man. You see a lot of these heavyweights, they've got 3 stones sometimes on a smaller fighter, and they box like the smaller man. I believe in, if you got those advantages, get in there and use them, hit the body, push him back, use your jab, box him well. And I'd really think if Eubank Jr. gets it right, he shouldn't really let Conor Benn into this fight. But again, You've got those little intangibles. He's so unproven, Conor Benn, that no one knows what he can do. And if he's got that if he can bring through that natural bit of quickness, which Eubank Jr. won't have really seen before from the lighter fighters, and that little bit of extra agility and that bit of youth and that bit of maybe even stamina with this weight class, then he's definitely got a chance, Ben. But again, that'd be the tactics I'd suggest from Eubank. Be the bigger man, fight like the bigger man, establish your jab, work the body, hit the man early, push him back and try to take him out in the middle rounds.
Yeah, it's a really good point, Paul, man. Yeah, it's true. Yep.
Adam, do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's definitely got to come out working the jab. He's got a nice jab, you know what I mean? Got to control it in the jab before he starts his work. But I think, I'm not sure Conor Benn defensively is the best. I mean, his last fight, I think it was it Dobson, his last fight? Peter Dobson, I think. Yeah, he was getting caught quite a lot in that fight by right hands as well. And I think when Eubank gets his range, gets the jab working and the right hand to come. Yeah, I know it sounds like I'm really pro Eubank. I like Conor Benn as well. But I just think the size and all that. We'll see what the old hydration clause does. So even it out, I suppose.
Well, just lastly then, if I just get final predictions from everyone. Adam, we'll go start with you. Final prediction for this weekend?
Yeah, I've got... so I'm only... Because I know Conor Benn might come out and blast him. You never know, do you? But I'm going with Eubank round 6 or 7 stoppage.
Xavier, final prediction?
You put me on the spot now. I'm going Eubank, hoping he's not shot. I'm going Eubank. I think. I agree with Adam. I think around the midway point.
And
Paul, prediction from yourself?
Well, I wouldn't disagree with what both lads have said there. And if I was going to put money on it, which I don't, then maybe I will bet on Eubank. But I'm going to go in this little case with Conor Benn just on a whim, because he's got nothing to really. He's shown nothing to really to say that he should be beating the likes of Eubank Jr. But I will go with what the points I've mentioned about. Maybe he might surprise him with a bit of quickness and a bit of youth and a bit of extra sort of gas than he's expected to have down the tank. Plus, there might be a little sneaky bit of smartness out of Ben. You never know what the night will bring. So I'm going to go with him via a surprise late round stoppage.
Go on, what round, Paul? What round?
Let's say 10. It's a wild card, but I'm going.
I love the 10th round. The 10th round.
Yeah.
Well, lads, I think that's a good place to leave it. Thank you all very much for joining me today, and we look forward to the fights this weekend. Cheers.
Welcome, Josh. You take care, man.
Take care,
all the
mate.
best, lads.
Bye.